Oh, hey, it's Emily, and welcome to a pretty exciting video, or at least one that I'm excited about, and that is a wrap-up of my previous 5-star predictions and setting some new 5-star predictions. So quite a while ago, and I will link both of these videos down below, I did a couple of videos with some 5-star predictions for some kind of older backlist titles that I had that I was really interested in, and then also some that were current releases or relatively new releases are going to be released in that year, which now we're a bit older, but anyway, as I said, I will link both below. I finally have read all of them after a long time, so I'm just going to go down the list that's on my phone here, give just a quick wrap up. I say 5-star prediction. I don't star rate my books. That'll be a separate conversation that I hope to have in a video actually fairly soon. But what I mean by this is, something that is a new favorite that really just resonated with me, that stuck with me, that gave me 5-star feelings, even if I don't put a quantitative rating on it. And so that's what I'm considering 5-star for the purposes of this list. I'm not gonna give star ratings here. And of course I hope to enjoy every book I read. I'm not gonna read something that I really just don't think I'm going to like or enjoy. But some of them you think really are gonna hit the sweet spot of different tropes you like, different elements in stories that you like, and or you have experience with that author before and you really liked a previous work of theirs and you really feel like their next one is going to work for you really well. There are lots of reasons why it could be on this list, but so I'll just go back and mention some of the older ones. So the first one is The Humans by Matt Haig. I did really enjoy this one. This one was just a delight. It was the humor that I was in the mood for at the time. I really think it was just a fun way to explore some of the themes that Matt Haig was going for here. So this one follows a math professor who is killed and then replaced by an alien who is then impersonating him. And the reason an alien is impersonating him is because this math professor was on the verge of something monumental in his work that really was going to change the course of things, and that was something that wasn't going to end well, or something that this alien group didn't want. And so they're sending this alien down to take this math professor's place and kind of erase any mention of this discovery and make sure that he didn't talk about this discovery with anyone else, and if he did, then they need to be killed off. Anyway, it sounds a lot more morbid than it actually is. It's a very light, humorous tone for good portions of it. There are some heavy moments and themes of suicidal ideation, so I do want to flag that. Overall, the tone is light, but there are those moments, so do be careful with that. But I really feel like this struck a good balance in the tone that I was wanting, the humor, just some of this alien's observations about humans as he's starting to learn to impersonate humans are just hilarious. So the next one I want to mention is Jane Unlimited by Kristen Cashore, and this one did have an interesting synopsis. It wasn't one that I probably would have put on a 5-star prediction list if it weren't written by Kristen Cashore. I adore Kristen Cashore's Graceland series so much, and so I was hoping that Kristen Cashore could bring this synopsis to be a new favorite for me. It didn't quite end up that way. This wasn't one that was what I wanted or was very memorable for me, but you follow our main character, Jane. She had been raised by her aunt, but her aunt recently passed away through some circumstances. She's brought through some acquaintances to this manor, and her aunt had made her promise that if she was ever invited that she would go, and so she goes and is offered some different choices. Can I say that the house offered these choices, whatever. It was like some magical realism elements here, and some different choices that are offered. The family is involved in the art world, and so there's a lot of that. I don't know, it just wasn't something that drew me in, and I don't know. I was a little sad this one didn't work for me because, as I said, I adore her other works, but it just wasn't one that was a 5-star for me. The next one I put on the list was the Live Ship Trader series. This was absolutely a new favorite series for me. I loved it. This is by Robin Hobb. This is the second series in her Realm of the Elderling world. I need to continue on with the third series, but I love this one. So many different perspectives. It follows a family so in this world, there are these magic ships that are built out of a specific type of wood. If 3 generations of a family die on that ship's decks, then it becomes a sentient live ship. And, the families that have control over these live ships, there's a bunch of politics between them. Pirates are involved, and you're following a huge cast of characters that includes pirates and live ship families, and you learn about the Rain Wilds, there are dragons, you find out more about, there's one family in particular that it follows, and the younger daughter thinks that she deserves ownership of this live ship, or to be able to command this live ship after her father passes away, and it becomes a live ship, but actually it's given to her older sister's husband, and so she wants to get her live ship back. And it's so good. It's so good. It's definitely a very character-based story and slower moving, but I think Robin Hobb's character work is just masterclass. Next one I put was Pages & Co. Book Wanderers series by Anna James. I've read the first 2 in that series, so I need to continue with that series as well. Absolutely adored these. These were huge favorites for me. I adore middle grade, and I adore books about books, and this was a combination of those 2 things that follows Tilly, and she lives with her grandparents, and she finds out that she can book wander, which is kind of go into the world of the books that are in her grandparents' bookshop. And there's a mystery with what happened to her parents, and anyway, and she's drawn into this world of book wanderers and the society of book wanderers, and it's just a delight. Like, it was just so much fun, to such a degree that it's a huge favorite for sure. Next one I put was The Sword of Kaigan by Emma Wong. This was another one that was a huge hit for me. You follow a mom, and there are so few fantasies that focus on badass moms, but this was one. It's a standalone too. It's a chunky one, but it is a standalone that follows this island, and they're kind of a key point in this larger world, to be a military force and to be kind of the first line of protection militarily from the outside world. And so you follow a group of people on this island. You follow a mom who was trained in, military type combat, but she is now a mother. It's a very traditional kind of way of living on this island. She's now a mother and really focuses on raising her sons and isn't really allowed to do much else. And you follow her relationship with her husband that is, grows and develops over the course of the story. Her son starts to ask some questions that make her think a lot about what she's been told by government forces and by society. And, there's a bunch of politics involved, there's some military elements involved, there's elemental magic and fighting, and it's very emotional. The character work is fantastic. Highly recommend. So that was the next one I had on my list. The next one is actually a DNF for now, and that is Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. This one I recently tried. I read 50 pages of, and I just was not oriented into the story at all. I feel like I was kind of thrown in, and I wasn't really figuring things out. And I feel like maybe it just wasn't the right time. I think I'll come back to this at some point and try to take it a little bit slower and see if that helps. But it was not working for me at first. But I really do feel like it could. And so I want to give it another go, but not right now. So that's a DNF for now. The next one I put on the list was Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This was a huge favorite. I love all of Angie Thomas's books. And you follow Star Carter's dad as he was a teenager and becomes a dad for the first time. And it's just wonderful. Like I love her writing. She does family dynamics so well. She develops her characters so well, and you just fall in love with all the people in her books and root for them. So another one that I was pretty sure I would love based on loving her other two books, but definitely love this one. The next one I put on my list was Shipped by Angie Hockman. I wanted to have a romance in there of some sort, and I did really enjoy this one. This one follows two co-workers who end up going on a work trip and need to work together on some things. And it's a cruise in the Galapagos, is it? And so part of it is their experience with this cruise, and part of it is they're working for a marketing strategy. So they work for a marketing company. They're working on marketing strategies for this cruise line. And, you know, there's some misunderstandings that are cleared up, and, you know, they just end up falling in love along the way. And it was just fun and delightful, definite summer vacation vibe. So this is a perfect one for the summer if you're looking for a summer romance. The next one I put on my list was Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. This was a huge hit for me, and I'm kind of spoiling a sci-fi reading vlog that I think is probably going to come out maybe after this video. Maybe it'll be up before. This isn't a spoiler, but I loved this one. This one is political, and it's an arranged marriage between two people who come from two different planets. And there's a key moment as a treaty is being renewed, and it's going to be kind of the guiding document for a relationship between those two worlds for the next 20 years. And one of the people in this arranged marriage, their previous partner had recently died, and there are some questions about how that happened and why, and the politics involved there. And so there's that mystery element, and there's also these two guys falling in love as they are, you know, put together through circumstances, and at first have a really hard time connecting. They're two very different people, but and communicate in very different ways, I think, and trying to navigate that was just delightful, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. The next one I had put on that list was Project Hail Mary, which was one of my favorites from the year that I read it. I loved this one. This was also a huge favorite, and this one follows an astronaut who just wakes up in space. The rest of his crew, the other two members of his crew, are dead. He has no memory of why he's in space, what was going on, what the mission was, realizes that it was a mission to save Earth, so he needs to figure out what he was doing first, and then how to actually do that and continue on the mission, despite the fact that his other two crewmates are dead for some reason. It's amazing. It's amazing. I think if you were a fan of The Martian, I think you'll really like this one. I'll just say there's a relationship, a friendship that forms between two characters that kind of comes in later on in the book. I'm not going to say more than that, but delightful, wonderful, amazing. And the audiobook is a super fun experience, so I would highly recommend the audiobook. The final one that I will be talking about is Breach of Peace by Daniel Green. I wanted to have some sort of fantasy on this list. I shouldn't have picked a novella, though, because those are very rarely going to be 5-star experiences or like make a huge impact on me. This one was fun. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't something that I think rose to the level of a new favorite, because it's really hard to do that in a short amount of space, to do that amount of character work, that amount of plot work and world building, especially for a fantasy world. And so I probably shouldn't have picked a novella, and I probably should have picked something else, but it was definitely enjoyable. It's a steampunk fantasy world, and there's a murder mystery, and you follow some people investigating that. It's super fun. I actually need to continue on in that series, but anyway, so those are all of the ones, both the backlist ones and the at the time new releases 5-star predictions list. And so yeah, so it is now time to make some new predictions. I think it's possible that I'll do a separate vlog following my experience reading all of these and see how that goes. And instead of kind of doing an update video like this, I think it might be a vlog, and then at the end of that vlog, I make a prediction for some new 5-star books, but we'll see how that goes. So some ones that I'm predicting will be new favorites include Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I really loved House in the Cerulean Sea, and I think this one is going to be in the same cozy fantasy, but thoughtful and kind of impactful read, that kind of space, that kind of mood. And I adore those types of reads, and I adore TJ Klune's previous release in that space as well. And this one follows, I think it's a man that is at a tea shop and has died, but doesn't want to accept that he's died, doesn't want to move on, gets a chance to, I think, at least go back and finish some things about his life, or like come to some either realizations about the life that he lived, or kind of get some closure on things. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a huge hit for me. The next one, speaking of political sci-fis, this is also a political sci-fi. Not, I think, a romantic element necessarily, or at least focusing on that the way Winter's Orbit did, but A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. This one involves someone, our main character is brought in to be, is it the new ambassador or the new representative from her planet to kind of one of the main planets in this galactic empire. And when she gets there, realizes that her predecessor died under mysterious circumstances. You're seeing some themes here that really, really match Winter's Orbit. And so our main character needs to figure out what happened to her predecessor and whether she is also in danger. It's supposed to be super fast paced. I think it takes place over maybe the period of a couple of days, something like that. So it's super fast paced as our main character is trying to figure out whether or not she's in danger. So I'm hyped. The next one I want to mention is a romance. I love having a variety of things on this list, so I'm trying to decide between The Charm Offensive and The Roughest Draft. I think I might go with The Charm Offensive and then read The Roughest Draft for my vlog that I'm doing. I'm filming a vlog separately over a period of time for some romances that center bookish characters or bookish themes, so I might save that one for that vlog and read it there instead. But the Charm Offensive follows a TV series, like think The Bachelor, but I think our main character falls in love with one of the producers instead or something. I've read one of Alison Cochran's I've read her recent release, and so and adored it. I adored Kiss Her Once for Me, and so I feel like this one, the premise just sounds fun, and I already know that I've enjoyed the writing from this author before. The Roughest Draft follows a couple of people in the bookish world. Are they editors? Are they writers? I'm not sure. I think they're writers, and they need to, I think they'd had a falling out, but they need to, per contract, they need to write one more book together or something. I think that's the premise of that one. Anyway, I love romances that center bookish themes and bookish characters, so I'll probably save that one for that vlog, but I wanted to mention it here too. Next one is a fantasy that I'm incredibly excited about, and that is The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. And this is by Shannon Chakraborty, or S.A. Chakraborty, who wrote the David Bott trilogy, which is one of my favorites. And so automatically I was very interested in this one. It also follows a pirate, a female pirate who was about to retire, but is being offered a lot of money to go on one more adventure to, I think, track someone's daughter down or something. Anyway, I don't remember what exactly the adventure is supposed to be, but it's a pirate going on an adventure, like one last hurrah. I'm so down. I'm so down. I love pirate and sea-centered fantasies. I know I've enjoyed stuff from this author before, so I could not be more excited. I also wanted to put a middle grade on this list, so I put The Keeper of the Lost Cities. I have quite a few books in this series on audio, and so I'll just put the first one on. I think this is just going to be a delightful, fun middle grade, and it follows our main character. I think her name is Sophie, and she discovers that she has magical abilities and gets pulled into the elven world, and I don't know what else happens from there, but I just wanted to put some sort of delightful middle grade on the list, so that's going to be that one. So the final one, I'm torn between a couple of different Mary Robinette Kowal books. One is her Lady Astronauts series, and it's an alternate history centering some women around the time of space travel starting, and I've heard amazing things. It sounds right up my alley as far as historical novels, but also focusing on some really cool characters and is, you know, imaginative. I think it's going to be super fun. Another one of her recent releases is it The Spare Man? I'll put an image right here. And this one, completely different premise, but also sounds like so much fun and right up my alley. This is a space murder mystery, but I think cozier than some of the other ones that I've mentioned. So I feel like it's on the cozier side compared to like a memory called Empire that I mentioned earlier, or Winter's Orbit. It follows two people who are on, is it their honeymoon? And they're on a spaceship going to Mars, I think. And they just think they're gonna have a nice honeymoon, and then there's a murder on the ship, and our main character gets involved in the investigation. It just seems like so much fun. And I'm torn between those two. Like, I think both of them will be huge hits for me, and I'm really excited to try something of hers out. So we'll see. We'll see which I actually end up reading first. But anyway, I've been talking for a bit, so let me wrap this up and say thank you so much for watching. I think I did pretty well predicting which books were going to be a hit for me. I mean, not all of them are going to be. I mean, you know, that would be great, but just, you know, it's not unreasonable that some of them aren't going to be hits for me. But I think I did overall a really good job predicting books that would be 5 stars for me, or give that 5-star feeling and would be new favorites. So I'm hoping that this next round is just as successful, but I will likely film a vlog that documents my experience reading some of these books and let you know how my predictions turned out, and give some new predictions in a vlog coming up whenever I finish reading all of these books. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know some of your 5-star predictions. If you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, please let me know your thoughts on any of them, and I will leave my Instagram down below. I will also leave more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.